I went through a severe depression years ago. It affected my marriage, and my wife and I separated for about 11 months. After a lot of therapy and communication, I moved back home. She had a relationship at that time. She said it wasn't an affair because we were separated and on our way to a divorce. This is accurate, the divorce, not the affair. My position is that we were still married, so it was an affair. We had been working hard to make our marriage work for 7 years. The guy died on Thursday. His funeral will be this coming Wednesday. She wants to attend. I said if she goes, I won't be home when she returns. I'll be taking my stuff and my dog and leaving. She says I'm being unfair to ask her not to attend the funeral of her friend. I think the guy was a piece of crap to act on feelings he had for my wife since they were in high school. I am mentally okay, and this isn't making me spiral or anything. I just think it's tacky and disrespectful towards me. Am I the idiot for telling my wife that if she attends her affair partner's funeral, I won't be here when she gets back? Maybe I am the idiot here, but if you were separated for almost an entire year and you're on your way to a divorce, is it cheating if you guys start seeing other people? On the way to divorce for me means separate homes. Possibly lawyers and divorce papers were drawn up. You haven't stated how far you guys were in the divorce process. Yeah, this reeks of the divorce papers weren't signed yet, so she was still mine. I guess it could be interpreted as cheating if they mutually agreed that neither of them would see other people until things were finalized in case of a reconciliation. But that's not what it sounds like. It sounds like OP's wife was clearly out of the marriage when she chose to see other people and they got back together. What she did during that time is something he can choose to live with or not, but continuing to call it an affair and using it to assert control over her 7 years later is unhinged. Yeah, the working hard on our relationship for 7 years part is what gets me. Another thing that I haven't seen comments point out is that she's known the man since high school. I hate the way OP put friends in quotation marks, as if somehow because they dated the entire year that they separated, it negates the years, most likely decades, that they had been friends. They had known each other since childhood, and now he's dead. I honestly think that OP's wife would be much better off if she went to the funeral anyway and came home to an empty, peaceful house. He claims that his mental health is better, but in this whole post, his attitude towards the entire situation screams otherwise. OP, when you give an ultimatum like that, you better be ready to live with the consequences. And if you're at the stage of ultimatum, you're done. Just file for divorce, since you're both going to be unhappy anyway. You likely won't get over the affair. Your wife likely won't get over you, barring her from her friend's funeral. The marriage was dead long before the funeral. Growing up, my dad stayed at home while my mom worked. While my mom financially provided for my sister and myself, she was emotionally hands-off. She came to a ballet recital here and there, but didn't want to help with homework, didn't want to listen when we needed advice. Our dad did 95% of the emotional labor. I later found out from my mom that my dad was the one who wanted kids. She loved her career and didn't mind providing financially, but she didn't want to do anything related to raising us outside of that. I am very grateful she provided for us financially, but I do admit it hurts that she wasn't there when we needed her. She was physically present, but not emotionally present. To be clear, the arrangement was my mother's idea, not my father's. That being said, I do agree that my father was equally as selfish for making this arrangement. My dad always did grand gestures for her. Mother's Day was always a big deal with a huge brunch, flowers, and gifts. She was spoiled. She did nothing for him on Father's Day. He had to do everything for himself until my sister and I were old enough to do stuff for him. I get that that was their arrangement, but I knew it made my dad sad. I once asked why he didn't get the same hoopla our mom got, and he just sadly said, Father's Day isn't as important as Mother's Day. As adults, my sister and I have tried to rectify that. We do Father's Day up big, and our dad loves it. We grilled for him just as he taught us, and threw a huge barbecue with some other family members. However, we've turned Mother's Day very low-key. We still celebrate our mom, but she usually gets a quiet lunch and a few gifts at a restaurant of her choice. After my mom skipped my sister's baby shower this year, because she didn't see the big deal with someone having a baby. My sister wanted to do nothing for her. We sent gifts but spent Mother's Day with each other, our husbands, and our own kids. My mom told us after Father's Day that she was hurt that we hadn't done more for her in recent years. I said that since she put in almost no emotional labor into raising us, we're putting none into her. She said that our father and her had an agreement. I pointed out that yes, but we never agreed to it, and it wasn't fair that we grew up with an emotionally absent mother who didn't want us. To be fair, we have had this conversation with our dad, and he admits it wasn't fair to us either. I also said if she didn't want kids, then why should she be celebrated as a mom? My mom was upset with both of us and called us ungrateful brats. My dad feels bad for her but supports our choice. Am I the idiot? Even disregarding how you all were raised and your parents' agreement about that, you're adults now, and your mom is still not giving either of you any care. She can't be bothered to attend her daughter's baby shower, but thinks you all should make a fuss over her for Mother's Day. Nope, that's not how that works. I would give her as much energy as she gives you, which would free up a lot of your time, money, and energy. Not the idiot. And mom needs to be grateful for what she gets. I'm so sorry. If you can't afford it, therapy may help. It is best for childhood trauma so that you don't bring it into your adult relationships and your relationships with your children. When I was reading this, I was asking myself, if someone switched the genders of the parents in their positions, I swear I read this about dad and mom, and the dad was the one who was emotionally distant. People thought that was normal, blah, blah, blah. But the roles have been reversed. It's only been in the last few generations that it's widely expected for the father to be emotionally present during parenting. While it's impactful to the children, regardless of which parent is emotionally absent, it's worth noting that when the women of the 60s had kids, they taught them not to expect emotional things from their father. They didn't keep sending them back to get rejected repeatedly, as it seems OP's dad did. My 36 male, wife 37, said she would plan something for my birthday. She asked if there was anything I wanted to do, and I told her no. At 36, I don't have any expectations for my birthday. We've been together for 10 years, married for 7. We have 3 kids, all kindergarten and preschool age, so planning activities can be tricky. Traveling is tough, and staying in uncomfortable places with kids is stressful. So my wife plans something, packs an overnight suitcase for everyone, and loads up our van. We drive an hour and 45 minutes to a small town, then take a long, rocky, narrow road to a tiny cabin Airbnb in a remote, heavily wooded area. It's a single room with a galley kitchen, 1 bed, and a pull-out couch. It's cramped with 3 kids. There's not much to do, no walking trails, and nowhere to drive, except back on that awful road. I'm asked to drive back to get dinner from a nearby bar. I'm surprised, and not in a good way. I don't say anything bad about the property, but I can't hide my feelings, and she can tell I'm not a fan. We unpack and walk around. She has some gifts for me to open in front of the kids. We have cake and spend 4.5 hours trying to pass the time. The highlight is sneaking in a quickie in the outdoor bathtub. After that, we go through the tiresome routine of getting all 3 kids to sleep, which is extra hard in a tiny cabin. By the way, I sleep on an air mattress because our youngest co-sleeps and needs mom at night. We wake up early because the cabin has no curtains. My wife tells me we're going to do a 5K bubble and color run. I smile and say, okay, let's do it. Not wanting to sound disappointed, but probably failing to hide it. I'm not a runner. I never said I wanted to run, but whatever. Let's try it. We pack up and head to the event. It's a small, cheap event on a hot day. Our 2 youngest don't want to do this, but we start the race anyway. Our oldest takes off, causing us to lose him twice. I frantically try to catch up, ending up sweaty, winded, and with aching knees. Not fun. After my wife finishes with our other 2 kids, we walk around a small street fair and let the kids play. It's fine, but I'm ready to rest. My wife tells me we're supposed to meet friends at the beach later, so we have a 2-hour drive back, hoping the kids nap in the car. I take a nap, feeling quiet and not in a good mood. We get to the beach and 2 of our kids start melting down. I'm done with the day and would prefer to be home. Eventually, they chill. We find some shade, and it's fine. When we get home, it's a mad dash to get the kids showered and in bed, while I unpack and clean the car and house. My wife asks what's wrong, and I tell her I appreciate her effort, but it didn't feel like she planned it with me in mind. I don't like running. I want comfort when traveling with the kids, and it was exhausting. It was a lot of effort for something not enjoyable. She flips out, devastated that I didn't enjoy it, and angry at me for not just being grateful somebody planned something out for me. OP, as another non-runner, I am not the idiot. I would be dumbfounded if my husband organized for us to go for a family 5K run for my birthday, no matter how colorful or bubbly it was. The ultimate question is, what did she plan for you? After 7 years, if she knew so little about you that she couldn't envision you wouldn't enjoy it, that says something about her. Don't fall for this BS. She planned this for herself, not for you. She got a bed. You slept on an air mattress. She got to finish the run while you were childcare for the straying kid. She made you do all the work and drive around to get the food. This was for her, and you were the support person for her fun. Your wife had a nice birthday trip, except it wasn't her birthday. You are the idiot. You're being disingenuous by saying that you have no expectations, but also complaining that it didn't feel like she planned it with me in mind. You have expectations. It's just that you don't really know what they are, but you kind of expect your wife to know what they are. I think it's very poor communication. In the future, instead of answering no to "is there anything you want to do for your birthday," which leaves the onus completely on her, truthfully tell her, "I would prefer a relaxing day at home," or "let's not plan anything," or "I like to do X, Y, and Z." I feel bad for your wife. Nothing is good enough for you, and the kids are a burden to you. You should be grateful she did so much for you instead of complaining on the internet. You sound spoiled and selfish. I don't understand this mentality of partners expecting to read each other's minds and then being annoyed and ungrateful when their partner tries to do something nice. Appreciate the small moments or organize something yourself next time. I was at my boyfriend's family home. I'm a nurse. My son burnt himself on the grill by smacking his forehead while playing. He had a little burn. I went to the bathroom to clean it up and put some cold water on it. My boyfriend's great-grandmother's there. There might be some cultural differences between them, as they're Latina, but she insists on putting butter on my kid's burns. I said no, and his mom came to talk to me, saying I should just do this, because it's disrespectful to his great-grandmother not to take her advice. She's almost 100. I told his mother it's disrespectful of them not to listen to me about treating my own child, and I'm a nurse, so I'm not putting butter on a small burn. The women in his family tried to bully me again about the butter, and I finally got mad and said, "Butter is for cooking. Why would I want it on the burn?" I saw his mom try to put it on my kid, and I said, "No darn butter." I took my kid and left. My boyfriend said I shouldn't treat his family like that and just let them do it. In his culture, elders are important. I said, in my culture, my boundaries and health are more important than your grandma's ego. We haven't talked since, and my friend said that I was being insensitive to my boyfriend and his family. Am I the idiot for being culturally insensitive about butter? Edit. My boyfriend is not the father of my son. I'm divorced. Not the idiot. This is about the well-being of your child. You do not put butter on burns. I was taught this 34 years ago in first aid and basic training. You're a nurse. You have greater knowledge of these matters than 99% of the population. You're not being culturally insensitive. You're being sensible. Your boyfriend and your friend are being idiots. Maybe show them medical websites that advise against putting butter on burns. Perhaps ask them if they feel it's fair to endanger your own child to perpetuate a harmful myth. Or just tell them to screw off. Butter on a burn is an old home remedy that is harmful rather than helpful. The grease causes the burn to retain more heat, which makes the burn worse. Child's health is more important than respect of old wives' tales. Tell your boyfriend it is your cultural tradition to follow scientific medical advice. Why is respect always a one-way street? What other nonsense will you have to tolerate from these elders? Respecting elders does not mean blind obedience to everything they say. You've just been shown the behavior of the family you'll potentially marry into someday. If they treated me like this, I'd be seriously considering the future of this relationship. My husband's brother and his wife are expecting a baby together. This is their first. My husband and I have 4 kids, so we've been there and done that, and we're both happy with our kids' names. For the sake of the post, brother-in-law's wife will be called Emma. So Emma came to me a few weeks ago and asked me how my husband and I figured out names for our kids because she and brother-in-law haven't listed the name yet for their baby. She said they've made a few lists already, but there's never one name overlapping. Given that we seem to find our names easily, and we're still happy, she felt I was a good person to ask. I decided to help her without going into name your baby this or use this to get a baby name, and instead, I told her some steps my husband and I took. 1. Write a list of top names, top 10, 20, 50, whatever, and choose the names off each other's list that are absolutely a no, never gonna happen, and accept that, and don't hold a grudge over it. 2. Discuss what your priority in a name is. For us, it was a name that fit among peers. Not too old, not too weird, but they would still probably be the only name in that class. 3. Try to have fun with it individually and together. 4. Take breaks if you feel stressed or frustrated. Emma took it all in and even made notes on her phone while we talked. She thanked me for the words of wisdom. Then she went to brother-in-law and all seemed fine. Until he found out that I had given him advice. He told me I had no business interfering and told my husband I should mind my business. My husband stood up for me and said Emma had asked, and I didn't interfere. I didn't try to talk them into a name and just gave them some tips on how they could work together better. Emma apologized to me for brother-in-law getting so angry. Brother-in-law said I should at least apologize before we put this to bed. He said I overstepped with my advice. My husband said brother-in-law's being unreasonable. Am I the idiot? Gee, I wonder why your sister-in-law's having trouble picking out names with her husband. He sounds so reasonable and sane. Not an idiot at all. It's just a total mystery. OP, do not apologize for having a conversation with your sister-in-law and telling her how you and your husband managed to name your kids and not have it turn into a fight or a tragedy, especially since she asked you. How could you know her husband would be offended by this? Well, you know now. If she ever gets tired of him, maybe she can come to you for assistance while cutting herself loose. It sounds like he's angry because he's controlling and doesn't like other people interfering in his anything. Seriously, you've only given us a snapshot of his behavior, but anyone who freaks out about someone helping their spouse is a walking set of red flags. I feel bad for Emma if this is how he is with compromise or even just looking for help. It's not a great sign. He truly is a piece of work. Hopefully Emma can find a reasonable solution, or I expect the rest of their married life and potentially co-parenting will be extremely difficult. You do not owe him an apology. He owes one to you.